The school's sports festival is drawing near, and today is solely dedicated to training. On the field, all the students are in awe as they watch Yuta effortlessly showcase a natural talent and performance way above average. Even when she's just relaxing, Izumi seems to maintain this really cool posture. That's what Yuta likes to call her aura. He notices that she picked a spot under the shade of a tree, but for some reason, half her body is still exposed to the strong sunlight. He walks over and asks if that was really the best shaded spot she could find. Then, he points out a much better spot right next to it. However, Izumi declines the suggestion. She explains that that spot belongs to a little flower growing there, and it would be a shame to step on it, so she decides to squeeze into the remaining space. Plus, she confesses that she's feeling lazy about getting up. Yuta is surprised. He never thought Izumi cared about such delicate details. She takes the opportunity to comment on how fast he is during physical activities. Yuta admits with a slight smile that he really enjoys the feeling of running. It's then that Urara's voice echoes from across the field, calling out to him. Yuta quickly imagines it has something to do with the lineup for the relay teams. And he was right. Urara thinks Yuta is the perfect name for the test. Yuta notices an odd necklace around her neck. She explains that she learned from past mistakes and made a phone holder, slipping it under her shirt so she doesn't miss anything again. In fact, everyone in class agrees. Yuta is the fastest among them. Well, he admits to himself that the idea of competing isn't bad at all. However, the excitement takes a hit when someone brings up that Rei will also be participating in the relay race. Urara jumps on the fence, buzzing with energy, eager to know all the details. To her, it would be the epic brotherly battle, since Rei is on the opposing team. But Yuta isn't having any of that comparison talk. He just turns his back and walks away, ignoring Urara's useless calls after him. Back at the school building, the competitive vibe gives way to a melancholic mood. The young man dives into memories of the past. He recalls when he and his brother used to race each other as kids. Rei always ended up first place, while Yuta was right behind him, nursing the bitter taste of victory that never came. Back then, he swore he'd win next time. Now, he thinks of Rei as the perfect brother, talented in everything, while seeing himself as just a plain, ordinary guy with nothing special about him. But even with that weight on his shoulders, he wonders when he started giving up on chasing that #1 spot. He remembers vividly how Rei was showered with praise for winning, while his family only approached Yuta to console him over coming in second place. Over time, he came to accept that he would never be able to beat his brother in any way. Maybe this resignation is his worst trait. For Yuta, it seems like the only thing he can outdo his brother on are household and everyday tasks. That's when Rei pops up, asking if his brother is heading home already. Rei asks Yuta if he wants to walk with him, like they used to do in the old days. Do I really have fear of never being the best? Yuta wonders to himself. Nah, the hole is even deeper than that. His genuine fear is being compared and subsequently diminished in the shadow of his brother's accomplishments. Yuta blurts out a quick excuse about having something to take care of before he bolts out, telling Rei to go ahead. The kid takes off running, leaving his older brother standing there with a confused expression. Yuta keeps running aimlessly down the hallways until he trips over his own feet and rolls like a ball until he crashes hard into a grate. What the hell am I doing? He asks himself, frustrated yet again for running from everything once more. It's at this moment of defeat that a certain blue-haired girl appears and asks calmly, "You okay?" Yuta's insides are in a panic. What is she doing here? Did she see me fall? A sudden wave of embarrassment washes over him, but Izumi, with her unique flair, comments that the spot where he fell is actually pretty great. She mentions that she tripped there the other day and found it so comfy that she ended up liking the place a lot. Yuta starts rolling around, realizing by sheer coincidence she did exactly what he did. Not to mention, the sun here is awesome, she says. Right after that, she points in a specific direction and tells Yuta to take a look. The cool breeze from the room ahead circulates, creating a cozy freshness. It's like heaven, right? Izumi asks. Yuta has no choice but to agree, but Izumi shifts her focus back to the field, noticing that the students are almost ready for the festival. She mentions the bread-eating race, and Yuta exclaims, confused, "What the hell is a bread-eating race?" Izumi continues, insisting he'd do great at it, but he's totally not buying it. He suggests she stay far away from this event, but she calms him down by explaining that since she lost rock, paper, scissors, she'll have to participate in the sack race. As for Yuta, she reminds him that he's running the 100-meter dash. Izumi asks about the relay, noting that everyone says Yuta should run. Yuta vents, saying he's not fast enough and that since Rei is participating, there's no way he can win. What the hell am I whining about? He thinks to himself immediately after, regretting how insecure he sounded. Why? Izumi asks. She questions what her brother's involvement has to do with whether he's participating in the test or not. Izumi admits she doesn't really get why family situations can be so messed up sometimes. But regardless of any comparison, she simply states, Yuta is just Yuta. Yuta paused for a moment, absorbing the words and nodding in silence. Deep down, he still fears the comparison, but there's something about that speech that resonates with him. Izumi notices a flower nearby. It's the same one that was in that shady corner earlier. Yuta explains he moved it to a sunlit flower bed so no one would accidentally step on it. It is pretty, isn't it? He asks, admiring how its colors shine in the sunlight. Izumi looks at the plant and wonders if it will grow well there. Then she glances at the boy and says she believes he'll turn out just fine too. Much like that flower, Yuta is shinier when he's running. Looking straight at him, she finishes with a powerful statement, "You're my best bet." The young man is left speechless, completely dumbfounded as he watches her. How can you be so confident? He wonders. He questions why she doesn't just tell him it's impossible or how he can believe in all of this. He realizes that with just a few words, she sparked an overwhelming happiness in him. Suddenly energized, Yuta takes off in a sprint, easily leaving everyone else behind in the dust. He feels weird, his heart is pounding like crazy. He tries to rationalize it, thinking maybe Izumi just said that without really thinking, just for the sake of saying something. Maybe it didn't mean anything deep for her. But still, Yuta feels an immense joy at hearing those words. Now, he feels like he wants to run and give his best just to live up to the expectations she placed on him. Wait a minute. You've watched this far and still haven't liked or subscribed? Come on, my dear, give me a hand. Like and subscribe to win a cookie. The next day, Urara and Izumi showed up wearing the bright cheerleading uniforms. Their classmates couldn't stop praising how well the outfits suited them, while the rest of the class got pumped up to give it their all at the events. Amidst the general excitement, Izumi caught Yuta's attention. With a different glint in her eye, she asks his opinion on how he liked the costume and even tries out a special smile. Yuta, caught off guard by both the closeness and the look, starts stammering, completely at a loss for words. Embarrassed to the core, he just spits out, "I don't know." One of his friends chimes in right away, saying that responding like that to a stunningly dressed Izumi is basically criminal. Another friend suggests she should cheer specifically for Yuta in the relay. It would be perfect. Hearing this, Izumi jumps into the act and strikes some ridiculous cheer poses. Yuta turns beet red with embarrassment and yells for them to shut up, finding the whole situation way too weird for his heart to handle. The big day of the sports festival finally arrives. It was Izumi's last-minute words of encouragement that got Yuta to decide to participate in the main event. Ever since that rehearsal, he can't stop thinking about how well she looked in that outfit. Just imagining it makes his heart race. It's right at this moment of distraction that Izumi turns around and locks eyes with him. The shock is immediate, and Yuta's heart races like an out-of-control car going down a hill. The event officially kicks off, though the relay race is still a ways off. The courtyard is packed and buzzing with activity. Some girls have even gone as far as making a life-sized cardboard Rei for photos. Nearby, Yuta thinks he spots someone acting suspiciously under a disguise, but the figure rudely demands he not touch them. As competitions are picking up, and Yuta hears through the sound system that the pink team is falling behind in points. He remembers that this is Izumi's team and tries to peek at what's going on. He sees her trying to participate in the basket toss, but instead of throwing them one by one, she tries to throw all the potato sacks at once and misses everything miserably. Yuta thinks it's really impossible to understand her logic. As he turns around, he ends up bumping into someone. The bump is with a tall guy sporting spiked hair and an annoyed expression. The guy gives Yuta a not-so-friendly look and grabs him tight. As he does so, he mumbles an apology while roughly shoving Yuta towards the protective barrier. The guy walks off in the opposite direction, leaving Yuta intrigued and wondering if that person might be related to someone from his school. Now looking at the crowd of supporters, he spots his own parents amidst the sea of faces. They admit they also wanted to see Rei, but the crowd surrounding the oldest son was so big that they gave up. The mom comments that since Yuta doesn't usually walk around with a bunch of people, it was pretty easy to find him. Oh man, that cutting honesty, huh, Mom? Yeah, we know she didn't mean to be snarky, haha. And then a familiar voice calls out for Yuta. It's Izumi, who approaches with a radiant smile, announcing that she managed to make 2 baskets in a row. Yuta is genuinely surprised and congratulates her on the feat. At that moment, his parents approach curiously, asking who the girl is and commenting on how adorable she is. Totally beat red, he responds that she's just a classmate. Yuta's mom steps in and thanks Izumi for taking care of her son. Izumi replies politely that the pleasure is all hers and introduces herself formally. The mom keeps going, mentioning that Yuta isn't really into talking to girls and expressing surprise at the whole situation, which makes Yuta desperately yell for her to stop saying weird stuff. While Yuta tries to plug his ears, muffling the embarrassment his mom is putting him through, Izumi remarks on how nice he's been to her and confesses that she really admires him for it. Yuta's parents are momentarily speechless in front of the girl's sincerity. They're completely charmed by her cuteness and already invite her to drop by their place sometime. Then, out of nowhere, they suddenly grab Yuta by the shoulders. They say they'd be over the moon if she got even closer to their son. Yuta, with his ears still plugged, asks what's going on, but the parents quickly change the subject and mention they'll be rooting for him in the race. Izumi smiles and remarks that his parents are super cool. She emphasizes that she'll be watching and rooting for him with all her might. Internally, Yuta can only beg for his heart to calm down already. The scene cuts to Rei, who's being grilled by a teammate about whether he'll be the anchor today. He confirms it, and she asks him about his brother. Rei notices that she knows a lot, and she mentions that Yuta has been getting pretty popular lately. She adds that Yuta's got some serious balls for going head-to-head with him like this. Rei comments that it's not exactly the same and reminisces about an old day when Yuta used to challenge him all the time. The older brother seems genuinely excited. After all, it's been years since his little brother showed this kind of serious competitive spirit against him. Rei decides that as a nod to this effort, he'll have to give it his all today. His teammate can't help but wonder why the sudden burst of energy. The opponent's team captain takes this moment to go for a quick water break and gather his thoughts. Walking along, Rei reflects on how Yuta has been avoiding any direct competition with him and wonders what exactly made him change his mind now. He thinks to himself, if Yuta really gives it his all, there's a risk I might end up losing. Check out this cute detail. A drawing of Yuta and Izumi in the background, making the whole thing feel much lighter, huh? Well, we've reached the end of the chapters. For now. And there, do you want the continuation? So leave a like and a comment with a cookie. Until next time, my dears.